about the high-level issues, all of the dotting the I's and crossing the T's will fall in place. If you have the will and desire to go to college, there will always be people out there like myself, your counselor, your support group, your family, this church, this organization that will push you. It is very difficult not to succeed if you want to succeed. Remember that. It is very difficult not to succeed. Nobody can give you the will to win. You have to have the will and the desire to win. And if you have that, everything else will fall in place. I want to close out with, when I was young, I loved to read poetry. I was the king of iambic pentameter. And I won, this is old school again, got to be me and Bump's age to really appreciate this. Back when I was a kid, they used to have this chocolate syrup called Bosco. You know, they had this chocolate, it was like Hershey's. It was like Hershey's, and I just loved Hershey's. And they were having a poetry writing contest, and the winner of the poetry contest was going to get the big 64-ounce thing of chocolate and a $5 gift certificate to Sears. I don't know which I wanted most, the $5 gift certificate or the Bosco. So at the time I was 9 years old. So at the age of 9, I wrote my very first poem that won me $5, 64-ounce jar of Bosco. And so I just want to leave you young people with this poem that I wrote in 1959 at the age of 9. That's the first time she showed any reaction as when I said I was born in 1959. She's just sitting there chilling and maxing and like, this dude is old. Wow. You know, being old is a beautiful thing. See, I know I'm going to get old. You hope to get old. You know, you hoping to get old. Okay, so 1959, 9 years old, 4th grade, I won the contest. And the poem that I wrote was called Figure It Out For Yourself. Don't ask me how I came about that. I think there was something, I think it was actually, I had a teacher that I used to always ask questions. She's my 4th grade social science teacher. Her name was Mrs. Austin. And you will remember the names of your teachers when your teachers impact you. When your teachers have an impact on you, you'll remember them. So Miss Austin was my 4th grade teacher in 1959, 55 years ago. And I used to always ask her stuff. And she used to always say, little Mr. Anderson, that's what she called me. Little Mr. Anderson, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. She would never tell me anything. She'd always make me go figure it out. So I wrote that poem called Figure It Out. And it went something like this. I may have forgotten a line or two along the way. Figure it out for yourself, my land. You have the greatest that men have had. 2 legs, 2 hands, and 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you are wise. With this equipment, they all began. So start today and say, I can. Look over them all, the wise and great, who took their food from a common place. But you have what they had when they made their start. You can triumph and come to steal. You can be great if you only will. So figure it out for yourself, my lad. You have the greatest that men have had. 2 legs, 2 hands, and 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you're wise. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the test.
Now, oh, Miss Martinez, she just snuck in. Clap her up. How you doing? I just like I'm trying to find her. Now, what we want to do is, after each speaker goes, we want to give you some time to ask them some questions. So, any questions that you have for Mr. Anderson, get your questions together, and then we'll field questions. All right? You should. He gave us some powerful numbers. We should be able to have some questions for him. Anything about financial aid and college.
You can ask me about anything you want.
Parents as well. Parents can have questions as well.
Okay, he's got the mic right. Oh, you want to
You are.
Hi, my name is Laquita.
Okay.
And that's my son on the front row, Joyce. And even
Okay.
before they get to high school, like, where's financial aid for the private schools before they get to college?
If your goal is to go to college and get significant money, and to me significant money means that you get minimally 75% of the cost of attendance. The cost of attendance is the room, board, tuition fees, book supplies once you're home. In this day and age, the colleges that have that type of money are typically private institutions.
I'm talking about for high school. Like, is there financial aid available for high school, for private high schools?
There is, but you have to really dig for it, and you got to start digging for it probably around 6th, 7th grade. The process of getting financial aid for high school is much more difficult than even getting financial aid for college because it's not that readily available. But yes, the short answer is it is available. It is available. And here again, it depends on the school and the caliber of the school. Probably private, parochial, big schools, schools with a very, very strong academic reputation.
Can you give us an idea? I'm sorry, I'm Cicely. Can you give us an idea of what classes, if you have any idea of that our kids need to take, even starting at the junior high level?
All the core courses. English. In the ideal high school, a student would take 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 4 years of science, 3 or 4 years of a foreign language. The best preparation you can begin in junior college, in junior high school, is writing. If I were to say that there's one key that unlocks college and scholarships, is the ability to write. The ability to write. And on top of that, the ability to write about yourself. The ability to write about yourself and to articulate who you are. When my kids were very young, 3rd, 4th grade, every night before they went to bed, I made them write for 2 minutes. I didn't care what they wrote. You know, they could write down, I had a crappy day, it was a horrible day. Mr. Johnson took my cell phone, which would have been hard to do since they didn't have a cell phone then. But we'll say that anyway. You know, you have to begin to know who you are. When students are talking about going to Harvard and Princeton and University of Chicago and Northwestern, 90% of those kids write their way into those schools. You know, so don't let your counselors, for those of you who are in high school, get you all caught up with what's your ACT score, what's your GPA. You can overcome a low ACT score. You can overcome a low GPA. When you start writing these essays and personal statements, you cannot overcome bad writing. I don't care what your ACT is. So we have to begin to make our children write. And I would make them write, just not a diary, but just at the end of the day. I had a very bad day.